Superintendent as the Superintendent of the Year for 2025. At this time, I'd like to have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence. Thank you. Well, as I indicated earlier, we're here to recognize Mr. Goho as achieving a prestigious award as being selected as the 2025 Superintendent of the Year by his colleagues, the Rhode Island Superintendent Association. So prior to our meeting, we're going to have a brief speaking program. But before we start the speaking program, I just want to welcome our elected officials and guests. Welcome Joe's family, his wife Melissa, his children Benjamin and Nicole, and Joe's parents, Bill and Anne Marie. Welcome. First speakers to approach the podium will be the representatives from the Rhode Island School Committees Association, Mr. Tim Ryan and Mike Solito. Tim, Mike.
Thank you, Frank. I'd like to make one correction. Nobody would elect me to the school committee. So I'm Tim Ryan from the Superintendent's Association. First of all, it is a pleasure to be here. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to come and work in North Providence. I worked with Donna Ottaviano, the superintendent at the time, and I had worked with Donna and Ben in the past, and Frank was a good friend. And then it was just a wonderful experience working here. So many wonderful people in North Providence, great community, and it was just very, very enjoyable. And one of the things that impressed me was going up to the high school and seeing how well run it was. Joe had everything under control. He was just a young guy. You know, he still is pretty young. But it was just amazing how it was, you could just tell it was such a great community. The kids were safe, they were contented. It was a great environment. And it was clear that Joe was going to move on to a leadership position. I'm very proud to have worked with Joe over the years, and very happy to have worked with all the fine people here in North Providence. And to present the award, I'd also like to recognize Andy Andre, who's here from the Department of Ed. The commissioner couldn't make it, but Andy's here representing RIDE. But I'd like to recognize now last year's Superintendent of the Year, Mike Solito. And this is really a great, great honor to receive this award because it comes from your peers, from people who have to do the job day in, day out, know the headaches. And in a way, it's an award to Joe's family as well, because there's a lot of nights when he's not home, not able to attend things for his kids. And it's really a team effort from the community and family. So congratulations, Joe. And to talk a little bit more about the award is Mike Solito, last year's Superintendent of the Year and the Superintendent from Burrillville.
Thank you, Tim. Dr. Pilata, members of the North Providence School Committee, fellow educators, dignitaries, and guests. It's my absolute pleasure to be here this evening to formally recognize the 2025 Superintendent of the Year, Mr. Joseph Goho. As a North Providence resident and father of 3 children who have gone through North Providence schools, I can attest to Mr. Goho's excellence throughout the years in his many roles. As most of you know, Joe's a longtime Rhode Island educator, has strong connections across the state. Throughout his career, he served on many boards and has been active in many associations. This includes the NEAS Commission, the Rhode Island Association of School Principals, the executive board for that organization, the Breaking Ranks Reform Network, that will tell you a little bit about how old Mr. Goho is. The Rhode Island Interscholastic League Principal Committee on Athletics, where Joe still serves as the co-director of boys basketball. Joe's a graduate of both Rhode Island College and Providence College with master's degrees from both institutions, and he's been an adjunct professor at PC for over 20 years. His accomplishments in North Providence include a number of large construction projects. 2 new elementary schools have recently been completed. 2 more still in the works as part of a $125 million bond project. We have the new athletic field projects that have also recently been completed, and a construction project for the central office administrative offices, which is well underway. Other accomplishments include a flourishing P-Tech Academy, an expansion of career and technical education programs, establishing gateway middle school programs, a number of district and school level grants, restructuring of the finance department that has led to a multi-million-dollar surplus fund balance, expansion of community partnerships, summer learning opportunities, and many other successful initiatives. Of course, these accomplishments are things to be proud of. However, anyone that knows Joe truly knows that his proudest accomplishment and what he's most proud of in his life is his family, his wife Melissa, his son Ben, daughter Nicole. And finally, on a personal note, Joe and I have been friends and colleagues for well over 20 years. We've served together as co-director of basketball, boys basketball, since 2009. So over 15 years, we've watched more high school basketball games together than you can imagine. So introducing him today, I'm reminded of an occasion several years ago where Joe and I were both being recognized at an event. And as the event began, this is a true story, Joe leaned over and whispered in my ear, this is a direct quote now, not bad for a couple of guineas from Mount Pleasant and Silver Lake. So on that note, Mr. Goho, please come up here on behalf of the Rhode Island Association of School Superintendents. Please accept this award.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Mike. The commissioner was unable to attend tonight, but in the commissioner's place, we have Andy Andre here from Rhode Island Department of Education. Where's Andy? Andy's in the back. Our next speaker to bring congratulations from the town is the mayor of North Providence, Mayor Charles Lombardi.
Thank you, Frank. Before I congratulate you, Joe, let me first thank your parents for giving you to us. And Melissa, thank you and God bless you. But to you, Joe, a special thank you. Your commitment to the best education speaks for itself, Joe. I want to thank you. You know, we've always said this is one town. It's not a school department. It's not a town government. We have to agree to disagree at times, but for the most part, the cooperation between the council and our council colleagues here this evening and our office has been great. I've been around a while. 60 years ago, I graduated from this high school. 60 years this year. So I've seen many changes here. But I can tell you, from the bottom of my heart, this building and its operations and the school department has never been better. So let's give Joe a hand for that. So Joe, as I call him, Joey, and I call him often, hey Joey, he knows back there also, but he's never further away than the phone, and anything that we ask, we try to work things out together. I want to thank you again for that, Joe. And what can I say? You've been here 27 years, Joe. I don't know, you need to be here any longer to be able to say once a cougar, always a cougar? You gotta stay a little while longer, Joe, and maybe before I leave, I can officially name you a cougar. But again, thank you very, very much, and please continue to enjoy good health. And at this point in time, I would respectfully tell you that it's a great night for North Providence. I don't know, we have a superintendent here, but also we have our animal control and 4 of our firefighters that are being honored this evening. So I'm gonna have to run out to also recognize them. But thank you for what you do. God bless you, Joe. I want to be just like you when I get big. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess a real quick story. The mayor referred to 60 years graduating from high school. Both my wife and myself graduated with Joe's mother from high school 60 years ago. A long time ago. Okay, our next speaker to represent the governor is the governor's deputy chief of staff, Mr. Joseph Alman. Joe?
Good evening. Thank you for having me. On behalf of Governor McKee, I'd like to extend my sincere congratulations to Superintendent Joseph Goho. As it's been repeated many times, he's been selected by his colleagues as the 2025 Superintendent of the Year. And you don't have to look far in articles in the past several years to see what Joe's been up to here in North Providence. But he's definitely been able to implement significant advances in your student achievement. Your adaptive learning, I understand, is growing. Your career pathways are expanding. And your advanced placement testing is increasing, which is really something to be proud of. So congratulations for that. Joe is, and I know this firsthand, Joe really has a good collaborative, professional, but collaborative approach with the elected officials and the community leaders to get things done. And you see that in North Providence with $200 million dedicated to building new schools for the kids all throughout, creating a welcome environment for all the teachers and students throughout the whole district, from what I've seen. I myself have had the good fortune to know Joe and Melissa personally, fellow residents at Lincoln, and parents. Our children went to high school together. I've worked with Joe for several years in his capacity as a member of the Lincoln School Committee and the chair of Lincoln School Committee. And like he's done here, Joe has constantly demonstrated his commitment to improving educational outcomes, modernizing schools here as well as in Lincoln, and most importantly, engaging in a collaborative effort with at the time me, which was hard to do, but with all the stakeholders, and achieved a lot of success there as well, which I thank him for. So again, on behalf of Governor McKee, thank you for your dedication to improve educational outcomes and provide opportunities for all our children to thrive, not just here in North Providence, but throughout the entire state of Rhode Island. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Now to bring congratulations from the North Providence Town Council is President Dino Ordiello.
Thank you, Dr. Pilata. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. I'd like to recognize the Honorable School Committee. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I want to recognize my colleagues in government, Representative Carvesi, Representative O'Brien, Senator Tercoyan, Chief of Staff Alman, our former Mayor Dick Fossa, and members of the North Providence Town Council, Kenny Amarigi, Mario Martone, Steve Laporcio, and Stefano Famagetti. Thank you all. So it's an honor to stand before you and recognize an individual whose leadership, vision, and commitment to education has transformed the lives of many students and families in the town of North Providence. So on behalf of the North Providence Town Council, congratulations, Mr. Goho, for winning Rhode Island Superintendent of the Year. This award is a reflection of your passion, ability to inspire others, and under your leadership, you have improved academic achievement that will leave a lasting impression on this town and our schools for many years. You've shown us all what it means to lead with purpose, and as we celebrate not just your success, but the profound impact you've made on this district. I will say this one is special to me. As a graduate of North Providence High School, class of 2000, that was your first year as principal. So, good, fond memories. So again, on behalf of the North Providence Town Council, I want to extend a heartfelt congratulations. We look forward to seeing even more great things from you as you continue to shape the future of education for the children of this town. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dino. Here to bring congratulations from the General Assembly, we have our state representatives, Dr. Arthur Corvesi and William O'Brien and Senator David Tacoyan. If three gentlemen will come to the podium. Dr. Corvesi will speak first, followed by Mr. O'Brien and Senator Tacoyan.
Good evening. A male body who unfortunately was not here, honorable members of the North Providence School Committee, honorable members of the North Providence Town Council, state and local academic officials, and especially family, friends, and colleagues of the honoree. And of course, we can't forget the honoree himself, Superintendent Joe Goho. On behalf of the House of Representatives, Representative O'Brien, Deputy Speaker Hull, who's unable to make it, and myself are here to recognize and congratulate Superintendent Goho for his well-deserved selection as the Superintendent's Association Superintendent of the Year. North Providence is extremely fortunate to have been able to call Superintendent Goho our own for almost 3 decades, during which he has been an enthusiastic and tireless leader whose vision and dedication to public education have brought out the best in our students and staff. He has worked hard to ensure that North Providence students have excellent, safe, up-to-date school buildings and facilities, and that our schools' curricula and programs are effective and are able to reach every single student, whatever their needs and goals may be. He's led an incredible period of building and renovation, particularly for our elementary schools, facilitated multiple curriculum overhauls, and expanded opportunities such as career and tech education pathways. Perhaps most important of all, Superintendent Goho leads in a way that creates a positive culture in our schools, where everyone is on the same team, where teachers and staff work together and with support, and where students have the resources and encouragement they need to grow and thrive. And somehow, he does this all while also serving as chairman of our neighbor Lincoln School Committee and serving on the Rhode Island Interscholastic League. Superintendent Goho's dedication to public education is truly awe-inspiring, and it's hard to imagine anyone more deserving of the honor of Superintendent of the Year. Our children, our schools, and our town are incredibly fortunate to benefit from having him at the helm. Congratulations, Superintendent Goho. And before I ask Representative O'Brien to help me present a citation from the House, I just want to make mention that I was on the school committee that originally hired Superintendent Goho back in 1998. Joe, if you don't mind. On behalf of the House of Representatives, myself, Representative O'Brien, and Deputy Speaker Hull, be it hereby known to all that the Rhode Island House of Representatives hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Joseph Goho, Superintendent of North Providence, in recognition of the distinguished honor of being named 2024-2025 Superintendent of the Year by the Rhode Island Department of Education. The entire membership extends its very best wishes at this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued good fortune. It is presented by Speaker Sikachi, Majority Leader Blazejewski, and myself, Representative O'Brien, and Representative Hull.
Thank you, Ryan. Congratulations.
Thank you, Joe. I just want to bring up one thing about Joe. As a member of the Educational Committee, and when in the beginning years, like the first 2 years of my tenure, I got a lot of help from Joe. And anytime I asked him for help, he was always there. And when we got passed the due education, 75 to 0, by the way, my first bill. And we went right to work, didn't we, Joe? And now we have a P-TECH program that no community can say they have. We have a program that this year will graduate 13 seniors with a high school diploma and an associate's degree from CCRI. And that is a great accomplishment, Joe. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do for this community.
Thank you, Dr. Pilata. Thank you for inviting me. It gives me a great pleasure to bring greetings and congratulations on behalf of the Senate President, Dominic Ruggiero, and all the members of the Senate. You've heard the saying, first impressions. Well, I think it was 2004. I was a then young state trooper assigned to the governor's detail, and we came to North Providence High School for an event. And that's when I first met Joe, who's the principal. And his first impression, I got back in the car, I said, Governor, did you see the way that guy was dressed? I said, the tie, the shoes were shine, the jacket, I mean, he was impeccable. And I remember that. It really stuck with me. He said to me, remember, dress for where you want to be, not for where you are. And Joe, you made a really memorable first impression upon me. And I think it was sometime later, around 2014, he invited me to speak at Career Day here at the high school, right in this very room. And we got to know Joe even better. And then as the police chief in town, we had a great partnership and a collaboration, both when you were the principal here and as the superintendent. So it's no surprise to me, with all your accomplishments and accolades and hard work ethic and so forth, that you're being recognized, and I can't think of a better person to recognize than you, Joe. So on behalf of the Senate and Dominic Ruggiero, I do have a Senate citation congratulating you on the 2025 Superintendent of the Year. Congratulations, Joe.
Dave, I'm just glad you said that, because my wife is a school administrator. We kind of like cross paths in the morning, but she tells me that I don't always dress well. And she'll say a couple things to me in the morning, like, no, those shoes don't work. That shirt's not going to work. No, you got to change that. So I'm glad you said that. And it's recorded. But only... Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Corvese and Representative O'Brien and Senator Takoyan. Before I ask any school committee members if they wish to speak, I just want to recognize Father Ed Cardenti, who's in the audience, Joe's pastor, keeps him on a straight road, and Chief of Staff of the North Providence, town of North Providence, and former Mayor Richard Forson. Welcome. Okay, at this time, I had asked any member of the school committee if they wish to speak, and Mrs. Picard had responded that she'd like to say a few words. You can either come here or sit there, whatever you choose to do.
Thank you, Dr. Pilata. Good evening, everyone. And by the way, I won't tell you the year, but it's a lot younger than the mayor and Frank, but I am a Cougar, graduated 94, so I'm very proud that all my children are graduates of North Providence High School, and 2 of them had Joe as a principal, and the little one that I still call the baby is here now. But it is an absolute honor to stand here tonight and celebrate my dear friend, Joseph Goho, as he receives this prestigious Superintendent of the Year award in 2025. Our relationship began, as many as the best ones do, as parents. We met in the parking lot of sending our children off to preschool together. And right from the start, I knew we shared the same values regarding education, family, and community. There was something so reassuring about knowing that my children would come to North Providence High School and they would be in great hands under the leadership of Joe as their principal. I had complete trust in Joe with his care, his commitment to not only their growth, but all of the children. He always made decisions based on the best interest of all students. That's not easy to do in North Providence, but the phone calls you may get. As time passed, our relationship evolved from parents to colleagues, working side by side to improve the schools in North Providence. It was in those moments, collaborating with him, that I truly saw the depth of Joe's dedication, not just at his own school, but to every family he served. His passion for education and belief that every child deserves the very best was infectious. But perhaps the most meaningful evolution of our journey was becoming friends. In every interaction, whether personal or professional, Joe has remained someone who listens, and I talk a lot, someone who leads with his heart, and someone who never loses sight of why we do this work, for the kids, for our families, for our community's families, and for the future. When Joe transitioned into the role of superintendent, a role I had asked him to take many times, he actually became the North Providence superintendent when I was on the school committee, and I knew it wasn't just my family that would benefit from his wisdom and his leadership, but it was the entire community. I knew every family could now feel the same sense of security at every school across the district that I had when my children were under his care. Joe recognizes that no one is perfect and that there will be mistakes. It's going to inevitably happen. But when they do happen, he's dedicated to ensuring that he works to make things better for everyone. Joe, you are more than deserving of this recognition tonight. You have led with grace, strength, and an unwavering commitment to North Providence students, staff, and families. During the ribbon cutting a few weeks ago at the new high school auditorium, Joe reminded everyone that after all is said and done, we can all say that we made sure North Providence schools are better than we found them. This is true for Joe as well. He will continue to improve our district for all the students of North Providence, and North Providence is better for having Joe leading the way, and I couldn't be prouder to call you a colleague and a friend. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mrs. Picard. I think that's it in the school committee. Here to deliver congratulations on behalf of the North Providence teachers and the entire school personnel staff is the president of the North Providence Teachers Association, Mr. Michael Cicerone.
Good evening, everyone. Joe, let me start by saying on behalf of all the members of the North Providence Federation of Teachers, Local 920, congratulations on this well-deserved award. When I was first asked to speak at tonight's celebration, I saw the number of people who were slated to also speak and thought, you've got to be kidding me. This is going to be one long, dragged-out snooze fest. Everybody's going to say the same things, talk about what you've done and how great you are. Yeah. So my original plan was to treat this like a roast. I had it all written in my head and just needed to put it down on paper. I opened the laptop, threw in the flash drive, and yes, I still use a flash drive. And then I made the fatal mistake. I opened up the letter of recommendation that I wrote for you when you were applying to superintendent back in 2018. I quickly realized that I can't roast you. It just wouldn't be fair. As funny as it may or may not have been, it would have taken away from this honor and the magnitude of this award. An award that was not just 1 year or two in the making, but rather the totality of an entire career, which could be summed up in that letter. My letter started with the various roles that you held in the district from 97 to 2018. They included assistant principal, principal of the high school, as well as interim assistant superintendent and interim superintendent. And the next paragraph read as follows. I can say that during his time in North Providence, Joe makes his decisions with the best interest of the district, its students and families in mind. He looks at situations from different angles and will ask for different perspectives to get a complete view of each issue. He uses all available information to arrive at each decision. Over the past 21 years back then, I have worked with Joe in several roles: classroom teacher, union delegate, department chair, and union president. We don't agree on everything. Sometimes the disagreements are minor, and sometimes we are completely on opposite ends of the spectrum. Whatever your decision is, even though I may not agree with you, I respected it because I knew you took the time to gather as much information as possible and listen to an opposing viewpoint. And 6 years later, none of that has changed. I wrote about how a young assistant principal, I wrote how as a young assistant principal, teachers were a little nervous about your ability to do the job. However, you took charge quickly, you were fair and consistent in discipline, and gained the respect of the faculty and the students. You definitely exceeded everyone's expectations. I also wrote about how you became principal in only your second year in the district, and again, teachers were apprehensive about your ability to do the job. But you quickly put together a steering committee for NEASC, which brought us full accreditation, and that would not have happened without your leadership. I wrote about how you could have coasted for the next 10 years and used that as a launching pad for the next move in your career, but you chose to put your nose to the grindstone, got to work, and followed it up with another full accreditation visit in 2012, again, exceeding everyone's expectations. I wrote about how you would share the wealth with the building. You couldn't always give each department what they wanted, so you developed a long-term plan to get them what they needed. I wrote about how you surround yourself with good people, giving you the ability to effectively delegate tasks, and how you always give credit where credit is due, again, exceeding everyone's expectations. But my last paragraph of that letter read, although he does not have the years of experience in a central office position, Joe's reputation, interpersonal skills, and leadership qualities make him an impressive candidate. He is a leader who embraces change and challenges himself and those around him to keep striving for better for our students and their families. It is with great respect that I recommend Joseph Coho for the position of superintendent of the North Providence School Department. Give him a chance, and just as he has done over the past 21 years in our district, I'm sure he will exceed everyone's expectations. Who knew I was a psychic? Now, if you really want to continue to exceed everyone's expectations, Joe, let's go for a repeat and follow this up with back-to-back Superintendent of the Year awards. Congratulations on a job well done.
I just have two other individuals I just want to recognize before I say a few words, and that's Joe's administrative assistants, Norma, Jean, and Holly. They're the ones who did all the work behind the scenes to put this together, so thank you. I'd like to take the opportunity now to say a few words about Joe. This evening, we honor our superintendent, Joseph Goho, for receiving a prestigious award, which is the renowned Superintendent of the Year. This award is analogous to one word, and that's leadership. Joe has led the North Providence School District for 6 years. Under Joe's leadership, he has restructured the finance department, as a result, creating a $9 million surplus. Additionally, he is overseeing the construction of a new administration building. Joe and his staff had the vision to write and receive a $2.5 million grant from the Department of Education to completely renovate the high school auditorium. And under Joe's leadership, we have updated and refurbished our 2 middle schools, and we will have 4 new elementary schools by 2026. Joe is at the center of all these projects on a daily basis. He has thoughtfully addressed issues, problem solved, and most importantly, he has created a culture of professionalism that will achieve school and district success. Culture matters. Schooling is about adults working together to inspire, instruct, and mentor students. Culture is the glue that binds the community of teachers and learners. Under Joe's leadership, he has created this culture through his policies, hiring an excellent staff, and his involvement with the community. Joe has worked in the district as the high school principal for 20 years. He also did some time serving as the interim superintendent. He understands the school and community needs and is committed to meeting those needs. Leadership embodies having a vision, hope, trust, ideas, and energy to achieve those goals. Most importantly, leadership is not self-centered. It is consensus building and identifying the value of each individual. And Joe has accomplished that. Joe is about the kids and providing every student with the opportunity to be successful. He has created an environment that encourages collaboration, consensus, coaching, and student success. The most important attribute of a good educational leader is tied to instruction and student performance. Joe has always been focused on student needs and student performance. It is often said that in every problem lies an opportunity. Joe is very aware that finding the talent and support to drive improvement is a critical part of being an effective leader. He clearly understands that he must work with all levels of government and school staff to ensure successful opportunities for all students. So Joe, on behalf of the school committee, our elected officials, community, our parents, staff, and students, we congratulate you on being named the 2025 Superintendent of the Year. Thank you for bringing this honor to the North Providence School District and the town of North Providence. One last thought, and maybe a little bit of advice. When the challenges seem overwhelming, always remain focused on making decisions in the best interest of children, and you can never go wrong. Joe, congratulations. I apologize. We missed one speaker. I'll call you back up in 2 minutes, Mr. Goho. Representing the administrators and all the professional staff is the high school principal, Kristen McGill. Sorry, Kristen. I think age has caught up with me.
Good evening, everyone. I stand before you today with immense pride and gratitude as we celebrate a remarkable leader in our community, Joseph Goho, our Rhode Island Superintendent of the Year, 2025. Having worked alongside Joe since 1997, not to date myself, I have had the unique privilege of witnessing his impact on education. From the moment he hired me as a teacher at North Providence High School, it was clear he possessed a vision and passion that would transform our school and ultimately our district. As principal of North Providence High School, Joe was not just a figurehead. He was a true leader in every sense of the word. His door was always open, and his willingness to listen to students, teachers, and staff alike fostered an environment where everyone felt valued and empowered. Joe has the incredible ability to elevate those around him. encouraging us to take risks and strives for excellence. He has always believed in the potential of each individual, whether it be a student sitting in a classroom or a teacher leading a lesson. I can say from personal experience that stepping into Joe's shoes as principal was a tall order, pun intended. The legacy he built was one of compassion, integrity, and unwavering commitment to what matters most, our students. His guiding question, is it best for students, is not just a motto, it's a principle that he lives by every day. This unwavering focus on student-centered decision-making has shaped our educational landscape and inspired countless others to do the same. Joe's influence extends far beyond the walls of our school. His leadership has positively impacted our district, and his dedication to fostering collaboration among educators has paved the way for innovative teaching practices that benefit all students. He has a knack for building relationships, bridging gaps, and uniting diverse voices towards a common goal, the success of our students. Today, as we honor him as the Rhode Island Superintendent of the Year, let us reflect on the qualities that make Joe an exceptional leader. His empathy, his commitment to excellence, and his relentless pursuit of what is best for our students. We are incredibly fortunate to have him at the helm of our educational community, guiding us towards a brighter future. Congratulations, Joe. On behalf of all of our district's leadership team, we are so very proud of you and grateful for your dedication to our students and schools. Thank you for being an inspiration to us all.
Thank you, Kristen. Okay, Joe, now you can come back up. We have a citation and a plaque from the school committee. First, I'd like to read the citation. The Town of North Providence School Committee citation, be it hereby known to all that the North Providence School Committee hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Joseph B. Goho, the Rhode Island 2025 Superintendent of the Year. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued success. Proposed this 25th day of September 2024, signed by myself, Mr. De Silva, and the entire school committee. Congratulations, Joe, on that. We also have a plaque that says, congratulations to Joseph B. Goho, Superintendent of the Year 2025. For your dedication and long-standing service is an inspiring example for the staff and students of the North Providence Public Schools. Presented with great appreciation and pride from the North Providence School Committee, September 25th, 2024. Congratulations, Joe.
All right, everybody. So thank you for coming tonight, taking time out of your busy day, making it a long day. It turned out better than I thought. You know, it really was kind of dreading this. Superintendents generally don't like attention. But the place looks great. Those of you who helped set up the library, the auditorium, the library, the cafeteria, looks phenomenal. So thank you for that. Thank you, everybody. The best part so far, I don't know. It's been a great hour or 2 hours. I mean, it was great to see everybody in the cafeteria. People who haven't seen each other in so long, just having a good time and making connections. That was really heartwarming for me to see. So if this event brought people together that haven't seen each other in so long, that was really gratifying. The speakers in the front row. I mean, this is a Hall of Fame right here. A Hall of Fame of dignity, respect, statewide, townwide, professionalism. 2 people on the council, my former students. So really, it was inspiring to see you guys, say such great things and take the time out of your day to be here, and to have people like you say good things about me. I mean, that really is helping. So thank all of you for coming and taking the time to say something. I'm surrounded by so many friends, my brothers and sisters at the high school, throughout the district.
superintendents of the year, the room is filled with them, from Donna Ottaviano, so always a thrill to see her, Georgia Fortunato, Kathy Crowley, of course, Dr. Larry Filippelli in Lincoln. It was such a thrill to take this award from, to receive this award from my friend, longtime friend and colleague, Dr. Michael Solito. Worked with Tim Ryan when he was the interim superintendent, and I was the interim assistant superintendent at the time. We had a lot of fun, Tim. And that was like my kind of first preview that I might want to do this, because you made it look easy and you made it fun. So thank you, Tim, for presenting me the award. I really appreciate that. I'm glad that my colleagues from Lincoln are here as well, Cheryl Derhagopian and Lindsay Sullivan from the school committee, Dr. Kevin McNamara. So having everybody come together, I think, was the best part of the night. The speakers, as I said, it's so great to see the mayor so excited for the school system and the town. I know he's very proud of the town. And he's actually happy about this award. He told me that, because I had to take a whole bunch of suits to luxury cleaners to be cleaned for a bunch of these events. And it's funny, I know he does this. He tells me that he gets clothing off the racks early in the morning and then puts it back at the end of the day. That's why, because I complimented him on his ties. He said, it's not mine, it's the customer's. I got it from the cleaners this morning at 5:30. He goes, but you don't have to worry about that. I won't be wearing any of your clothes. Lucky for you. You're too tall. So appreciated the mayor coming and saying some good words about us as well. Mike Cicerone, I got Mike to say something positive about us and me. Wow. That was great. The president of the teachers union. I know. I trust me. I will. Seriously though, Mike. Mike knows he's like a brother with me, to me. We all at the high school grew up together in education, so they are considered my family, even though I was an only child. I never considered myself that. And I have former teachers who are here who are now administrators that have come back. So people who've done interim stints for us or are still doing interim stints for us. That says a lot. So people who were on the school committee 27 years ago who hired me, Tommy Norato, as well as Doc Covesi, brought back a lot of memories. So thank you for all of that. I did prepare something brief, to make sure I say some formal things. So I really am truly humbled to receive the Rhode Island Superintendent of the Year. It's a testament to the incredible work and dedication of everyone in our school district. I would be remiss. My team has been mentioned a lot, so I do want to mention them, and I will say a couple things about them. But our Assistant Superintendent, Louise Seisinger, Director of Student Services, Cindy Van Avery, HR Director, Matthew Hicks, our Finance Director, Lisa Casanelli, is not able to be with us, and our Director of Facilities and Transportation, Mr. Fioroli. So they are a huge part of the team, so they deserve a round of applause as well. So the people who are in the room know, I'm sure you have an idea that being a superintendent is not easy. We all try to follow the same basic formula of putting kids in modern and safe learning environments in a positive school community. Our job is to provide all the necessary supports for that basic structure to flourish. The formula isn't that complicated, but certainly the job is complicated. And for me personally, I ask that every single person in this room be invited. So everybody is here because I looked at the guest list and I said, there are certain people that I want to be here. So if you're here tonight, it's because I wanted you to be here. And so that means a lot to me. Because in some unique way, your support and your collaboration somewhere along the 27 years has been invaluable to me, both personally and professionally. And I truly appreciate all of you for taking the time out of your schedule to be here and everything that you've done for me personally and professionally. As I said, this award really is not an individual honor. It is a deserved honor for the entire school district and the community of North Providence, where I've had the privilege of serving as an administrator for the past 27 years. I have always sensed a great feeling of loyalty to North Providence because they took a chance on me and hired me to be an administrator when I was just 28 years old, and I never forgot that. My career in North Providence has been a journey filled with growth, opportunities, lifelong relationships, new family members and friends, fun, laughs, and countless rewarding moments, all driven by the collective efforts of our school committee here tonight and every member of our community. First and foremost, I do want to talk about the team that we have to coordinate as superintendents. My first team is my family. So my wife, Melissa, my children, Ben and Nicole, my mother, Anne Marie, and my father, Bill, both of whom, by the way, steered me towards a career in education when I wanted to be announcing Monday night football games. My wife, Melissa, is currently an elementary principal. She has been an elementary teacher, a special ed teacher, in self-contained, in resource, in severe and profound. She's been a DPT, a reading specialist, a national board certified teacher, and a middle school principal. She has served in many roles in education and has tremendous experience and perspective that I rely on. My son Ben recently graduated from Wheaton College and looks like he's on his way to Yale Medical School. My daughter is excelling in the speech pathology program at URI and will be studying abroad, hopefully in Italy in the next few months. So the reason why I mention all of this is, as Mrs. McGill mentioned, Dr. Pilata mentioned, one of the things that I know that I am really good at is that I surround myself, both at work, but also in at home, with people who are a lot smarter than I am. As you all know, there are many people in the school district who do real work and who are recognized through this award as well. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the central office and building administrator leadership team. Each of them, along with outstanding certified and non-certified staff, is talented, hardworking, and loyal educators whose kids-first approach makes them outstanding at what they do. There were specific district accomplishments noted in me receiving this award, and there were others who should share in the recognition. As I said, including our Assistant Superintendent, Louise Seitzinger, for leadership completing so many initiatives. I told her husband, Roy, there is nothing that we don't say to her that needs to be done, and then we never worry about it again. It's done, and it's done well. For example, new curriculum in ELA, math, and science, 2 years ahead of the state deadline. Right to Read professional development. Billy helped sponsor that. And that training was completed district-wide ahead of schedule. We've increased resources for our multilingual students and for our social emotional learning. The work of the Equity Institute, which has been instrumental in improving all of our programs, handbooks, and policies, benefiting all kids. Our Director of Student Services, Ms. Van Avery, for her outstanding leadership generally, and especially with the LEAP grant, which was used to build new in-house special education programs, significantly reducing our out-of-district placements and allowing more North Providence students to attend their neighborhood schools with their peers. So thank you, Louise and Cindy, for that work. We're also very proud of the many things occurring in North Providence, but one that's been talked about a lot in particular has us very excited. As you know, it can be a Herculean task to get a community to support a school construction bond. But we are very fortunate for the people in North Providence who have not once but twice supported 2 construction projects, totaling $200 million, both overwhelmingly approved by the voters in a short period of time. The projects in North Providence will lead to all brand new elementary schools, a new central office building, remodeled high school auditorium, updated libraries, renovated gymnasiums and playing fields at both the high school and the middle school. This investment in our facilities will benefit our students and our community for generations to come. Being directly involved in so many construction projects, I have learned so much about the industry. And I can't thank enough my facility director, Mr. Jimmy Ferroli. He and I have spent so much time together choosing designs, developing layouts, picking out colors, putting out fires, not literally, and finishings. So much so that Jimmy and I have joked that we auditioned to be a duo at the new HGTV series, Flipping Schools, Love It or List It. But personally, Jimmy and I have talked, and at this point, we would much rather be on HGTV as a client of the show My Lottery Dream House. But thank you, Mr. Ferroli, for all the work that you've done, and for your friendship, too. I'm also incredibly fortunate to work with outstanding and supportive school committee, whose leadership exemplifies the point that school committees really do matter. I am grateful to Dr. Frank Pilata, our chairman, a tremendous role model and mentor with over 50 years in education. Our Vice Chairman, Roderick De Silva, a classroom teacher for over 40 years in Cranston. Gina Picard, another educator, a colleague, and a fellow superintendent who always provides invaluable guidance. Arthur Corsini, who has served as both a school administrator and teacher for over 40 years. Chuck Pollock, a retired firefighter and U.S. military veteran. Steve Andriozzi, a longtime member of the school committee and a dedicated coach in our youth leagues for many, many years. And Anthony Marciano, who could not be here tonight, a former North Providence teacher and state legislator. The depth of experience and commitment to public service within our school committee is extraordinary, and I am lucky to have them guiding me and our district. So in that sense, I'm very lucky. When people ask me, how have you been able to work 27 years as an administrator in one community and in one as potentially difficult and challenging as North Providence, I tell them, honestly, it's fairly easy because I work for family. I also, through the many relationships that have been created with administrators, teachers, staff members, community members throughout the district over all these years, I also work with family every single day. So in accepting this award, I do so on behalf of all the children, families, and educators of North Providence. If this award brings recognition to all of them, then it will be worth the attention that comes with it. For 27 years, I have been part of a team striving for excellence in education to make North Providence a place where every student can thrive. And as Gina referenced, I'd like to say, one of the best things that can be said of anyone is that when all is said and done in your career and in life, is that you left something better than you found it. And this award is the clearest signal yet that all of us together may actually be accomplishing that goal in North Providence. Thank you.
Just one last word. Uh, Real quick story of how we got here today and Joe to become Superintendent of the Year in 2025. I forget what year it was, but at the time I was the Assistant Superintendent in Providence. Joe was an English teacher at Classical High School. And the assistant principal's job opened up here at North Providence High School. And Joe walked across the street to my office one day and he said, I'm thinking about applying for the assistant principal's job in North Providence, but I'm a little hesitant. I don't really know what to do. I said, I'm going to give you advice, Joe. It's not 2 words, 3 words. Make sure you apply. And the rest is history to where Joe has worked himself up today to be a superintendent of the year. Congratulations, Joe. At this time, this concludes the ceremony. The school committee will take a 5-minute break and allow you to go back to your homes and enjoy your families. Thank you for coming.
It turned out great. You guys are awesome. I was kind of dreading this. It turned out great.
Joe, I wanted to say hi. How are you? Joe. Bye. Okay, we're going to reconvene the school committee meeting, and without objection from the committee, I would recommend that we move up the request to address the committee and people who have signed up to address the committee to the front of the agenda.
Motion
If there's no objection to that, we will proceed with that. We have one individual who has requested to address the committee. It's Mr. Robert Giardio, and he wants to speak on Title IX policies. Would you please come to the podium, sir? You have a maximum of 15 minutes. There's a button there. There you go.
Thank you. Before I get started, I wanted to congratulate Superintendent Coho. The topic I'm speaking on tonight, Robert Cardillo from Westerly, by the way. Topic I'm speaking on tonight is obviously a very polarizing one in some instances, and this was happenstance that it happened tonight, but just wanted to express my congratulations to you, sir. So good evening, Chairman Plata, Superintendent Goho, members of the committee. Since May, I have been speaking at school committee meetings throughout Rhode Island to and with members and superintendents about two things: rides, unlawful and untruthful transgender, gender nonconforming, transitioning students guidance, which Angelica Infante Green and RIDE purport to be law, which it certainly is not, as well as the current administration attempted illegal hijacking of Title IX. We'll talk about both of those in the 15 minutes I have. North Providence is the 32nd school committee to whom I've presented. Most of you, as well as those of you in attendance, are well aware of what I have been doing, either by word of mouth or by seeing videos of my presentations. My reasoning is simple. School committees have the authority to make changes at the district level, and you are under no legal obligation whatsoever to conform to either RIDE's transgender guidance or the Biden administration's illegal hijacking of Title IX, attempted illegal hijacking. Westerly already voted 7-0 to ditch RIDE's current trans guidance and enact its own policy, which they are in the process of doing right now. I anticipate that will include Title IX provisions as well. I'm imploring you to do the same. I'm happy to be here, and thank you for placing me on tonight's agenda, and to Norma Jean for helping me. That said, assuming that none of you on this day is mandated to share your bathroom or changing area with someone of the opposite sex while at work, or sleep in the same room with someone of the opposite sex while on a work trip, why is it then okay to mandate that our children do so? Why am I asking this? Because there are 6 pillars of RIDE's untruthful and unlawful transgender guidance, which is not law, that you must change within your own policy. Biological boys using the same bathrooms and locker rooms as girls, rooming with girls on overnight field trips, competing with or against girls athletically, compelling of teachers to use pronouns of the students' choosing, and finally, the most egregious of all, the keeping of secrets from parents regarding social transitioning of their own children while in school. If you continue to enforce and comply with these policies, it is hypocritical. Forcing compliance on the students whom you claim you care so much about, yet not holding yourself to the same standard. You know this is wrong, but you haven't the courage, at least yet, to stand up to RIDE and others from whom the lawsuits will probably come. Don't listen to RIDE. If you care about these kids so much, you must incorporate my solutions, which I will get into, and adopt a new policy which protects and respects all students. Your current transgender policy is shameful gaslighting of this district's parents, lying to them, in effect, to make them think you have the best interest of all kids at heart. When this policy discriminates against 99% of this district's students, especially our girls, by placing them in uncomfortable, unfair, and unsafe positions. Your job as a school committee is to support and protect all kids, not simply those who are confused with their sexual identity. Angelica Infante Green is lying to you. Don't be afraid of her. Don't be afraid of RIDE or the ACLU or even the U.S. Department of Education if they threaten to sue you. Let them. They will lose. I remind you that every single parent and guardian with children in the North Providence School District has legal standing. I know several large, powerful legal entities who would gladly take on a case in support of district children and families. We only need one parent to step forward. That is a last resort, however, as I believe, and the credentials up here are impeccable, better than any school committee I've ever seen, honestly. I believe reasonable people can come to common sense solutions which are fair and equitable to all. I urge you to amend the 6 pillars in RIDE's trans guidance thusly. Instead of mandating that students utilize the bathroom corresponding to their stated gender identity, any student who is uncomfortable or unwilling for whatever reason to utilize these facilities aligning with his or her biological sex will use single-stall lockable facilities. There must be no sharing of bathrooms between biological girls and biological boys, period. Same with locker rooms and changing areas. Relative to overnight field trips, rooms will be assigned based on biological sex if there is more than one person to a room. If any student is uncomfortable or unwilling, for whatever reason, to abide by this, he or she will be assigned to another room, either with a student of the same sex or to a single room. Relative to the Rhode Island Interscholastic League competition, which now governs middle school as well, no North Providence middle school or high school team will be comprised of both biological boys and biological girls. North Providence middle school and high schools will have athletic teams for biological boys and biological girls. For safety and fairness reasons, no North Providence middle or high school biological female team will compete against any team having a biological male as a member. If necessary, North Providence female teams will forfeit contests against any team which has a biological male as a member, though I believe the North Providence team in this case should be awarded a victory. For safety and fairness reasons, no North Providence middle or high school individual biological female athlete will compete against any individual who is a biological male. If necessary, North Providence individual biological female athletes will forfeit any contests against a biological male. Though I believe, again, the North Providence team, or the North Providence individual should be awarded a victory in that instance. I'm sure you are familiar with the Dighton-Rehoboth School District in Massachusetts, where their school committee made this same decision in order to protect its biological females. I've also contacted the Rhode Island Interscholastic League Executive Director Mike Lunny. Thus far, he has cowered to RIDE. Fifth, no North Providence teacher or staff member will be compelled to address a student using a pronoun which differs from that of the student's biological sex. That is a clear First Amendment violation. Your solicitor knows this. A teacher or staff member will use the chosen name of the student if it differs from the student's given name only if the student's parent or guardian gives permission or if the student is no longer a minor. In all other cases, the student's given name will be used or another way of addressing the student will be enacted. Finally, Unless the student is at least 18 years of old, the initial step by anyone associated with North Providence schools upon hearing of or being told personally of a student's desire to socially transition will be to contact the student's parent or guardian. At that point, the parent or guardian will advise the district as to the next steps, which would or could involve a conference between the parent or guardian and the district personnel. Regardless of the agreed upon steps, items 1 through 5, which I've already mentioned, must remain in effect. This is common sense. You may say, there have been no problems with the current policy in our schools, like Cumberland said, and others. To that I say to you that your current policy allows all of this to occur. Teachers and staff need clear processes and direction as to how to respond should these situations occur. Some districts like Middletown and Westerly already provide, for example, single stall bathrooms. Maybe you do here as well. That's great. If you do, that's excellent, but it needs to be in the policy. No gray area. Your Title IX policy parrots the current administration's illegal hijacking rewrite and its attempt to erase women, and I will not allow that to happen. It has already been successfully challenged in court on numerous occasions and will continue to be. Title IX was written to protect women from discrimination based on sex, not men who identify as women. And is based on a false premise that a boy simply saying he is a girl makes it so, and vice versa. It does not. I urge you, no matter how much a boy wants to be a girl, or dress like a girl, act like a girl, think he's a girl, he will never be a girl. Never. Same as girls who want to be boys. This is truth, which is why proponents of this policy have nothing fact-based or data-driven on which to base any intelligent argument, and why you see the anger and the name-calling, which you'll see in a few minutes. All feelings, no fact, cherry-picked stats. How much time do I have, Mr. Chair? Thank you. Our opponents are quick to dismiss the American College of Pediatricians, calling them a hate group, citing the Southern Poverty Law Center, a true hate group, as their source. Go to acpeds.org and see the Doctors Protecting Children Declaration, where they and over a dozen other medical and health organizations signed to protect our kids from this so-called gender-affirming care. You'll note that the AMA and others are not present here. They don't sign it. Mangling kids' bodies is big business. Business these groups do not want to lose. This is not anti-LGBTQ. It is not anti-anything. If you heard from my friend, a gay man, at last week's Warwick meeting, you would have heard him say that the vast majority of the gay community don't want to be lumped in with this either. It's not denying the existence of kids who are confused with their sexual identity. I don't care what anybody identifies as personally, but I do, however, care when that affirmation and fallout places biological girls and women and boys too in unfair, uncomfortable, and unsafe situations, be it in a laboratory, a locker room, on the field of play, or in a classroom. How much time now? Thank you. Policies such as this push a vulnerable population to organizations such as Planned Parenthood, where over 40,000 girls have begun their transition with an initial dose of testosterone, leading to a lifetime of harm and pain, where suicide rates among this group actually increase post-treatment. Even this state recently enacted legislation which protects doctors who perform these surgeries against those who wish to detransition. This is big business, and it is worth billions. Those who push this are an evil, demonic group, and they must be stopped. I support calling anyone whatever name they choose to be called, should their parents or guardians approve. However, I will never affirm a lie, which is just what calling a boy a girl and a girl a boy is. and vice versa. An outright lie. You cannot either. I have shared solutions which will also be sent to you via email. I will never allow you or anyone else to systematically erase our girls and women. Get this on your next agenda and change these policies. Eliminate or update the trans policy like Westerly is doing. Other districts are heeding my advice and readying to do the same thing. It all comes down to one thing. Do you have the courage and fortitude to do the right thing? That is to protect all kids and provide all kids the privacy, comfort, and safety they all need and deserve? Or will you do the cowardly thing and sacrifice the privacy, comfort, safety, and fairness of these kids because RIDE has threatened to hold back money or others have threatened to sue? Trust me, if you don't change the current policy, there will be at least one parent who will come after you, and you will lose. I will be helping them along the way. But believe me, as I stated earlier, that I believe that intelligent and reasonable people, which I believe you are, will act both reasonably and intelligently. Thank you for your time this evening. Superintendent Goho, congrats again. May God bless the children and families of North Providence, and may He also bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We have 9 individuals who have signed up to speak. Each individual will be allowed 5 minutes. First individual from Woonsocket is Melissa Bublé.
It's bubble, but thank you. I am a bubbly person, so it fits. My name is Melissa Bubble, and I come from Woonsocket. Today, I want to share my journey as a proud tomboy and a boy mom. Growing up, I embraced mud and mechanics. I asked Santa for a toolkit set as I was just 10 years old. Those experiences shaped me, and I loved every moment of it. I actually still work on my truck today. I also appreciate the feminine side of myself. While I didn't always enjoy dresses or makeup, I've learned to love them for special occasions, and I've grown into my body. However, there's a pressing issue I need to address today. I'm deeply concerned about the current conversations surrounding gender identity, particularly the idea of children using bathrooms that don't align with the gender they were born as. This opens a door that could be exploited by those with ill intentions, potentially endangering our children. I've seen news articles highlighting these issues. Are we prepared to answer to the parents of the victims when something goes wrong? Let me be clear. I'm not against transgender individuals. I actually have plenty of friends who are transgender, and I respect their identities. However, I am against policies that could place our children in uneasy and potentially unsafe situations. This is America, and we should make it safe for all kids, not just those experiencing gender confusion. We need to stop unnecessary changes to rules for issues that need to be addressed differently. As a society, it seems we've shifted our focus from essential education matters to prioritizing gender identity discussions in schools. If a child feels they identify differently, it's important to recognize that this exploration is a natural part of growing up. We should not be forcing or intervening in the natural growth of their brains. These conversations should begin at home, with parents guiding their children through these feelings, not hiding them away. Since COVID, mental health discussions have surged, yet many children are simply navigating complexities of growing up, and this has been missed. Most will eventually feel comfortable in the gender that they were born into. We owe it to our kids to create an environment where they can explore their identities safely with open dialogue and support from their families, not schools. Let's ensure that our schools remain places of learning and growth, where discussions about gender are balanced with focus on education, family inclusion, and safety. Together, we can create a future where every child feels secure and valued. I don't force my straight gender lifestyle on my transgender friends. We should not sit here and force transgender lifestyles in schools. I fully support and will continue to support these ideas and Bob, who had spoken before me. Thank you.
Thank you. Lori Russo, Johnston, Rhode Island.
Good evening. Congratulations, Mr. Superintendent. That's to you. I am Lori Russo from Johnston. I am not a bigot. I am not transphobic. I have lesbian and gay friends, co-workers, and family that I love and respect. I do not incite hate speech nor violence. This is needed to be said as we have a journalist here that writes that of us. I speak factual truth through research that triggers some of the community with negative comments. Our education has suffered rapid decline numbers from RIDE. Our state average of ELA and math proficiency is 34%. North Providence, your ELA is at 38%, and your math is at 23%. This curriculum has infected with social emotional learning, critical race theory since 2019. This has promoted radicalism, guilt, and confusion on our students. And now we have more distress added not only to teach gender theory, but to reinforce it, based on bills introduced to our state and policies into our schools. Never in education has there been such a push of sexual pornographic material available in schools. What is the actual academic advancement of this? There is none. The children's brains are like sponges to absorb their political ideologies that are being pushed on them. Many medical organizations have finally voiced their truth in this sensitive matter. In March of 2024, WPATH, don't know if you all understand what that is, it's World Professional Organization of Transgender Health. They've come forward. This organization is highly respected by all in the community. Everything they say is recognized by hospitals, doctors, clinicians. Everyone, this is their godly organization. They have had 30 hours on their internal chat board of leaked information, never to be announced to the public. I don't have 30 hours to share that to you. I will share the co-author. Her name is Dr. Lieber. Her words were, "We cannot carry on in this field that involves permanent changes in young people's bodies that we don't fully understand and learn from those we fail." April 10th, the CAS Review in London has shut down their largest transgender clinic, Tavistock, and halted gender care affirming on all minors. June 8th, as Mr. Caradillo said, American College of Pediatricians set out a statement to immediately stop promotion of social affirmation, puberty blockers, and hormone surgeries. August 13th, our FDA has admitted to an increased number of suicides, depression, seizures, and one specific puberty blocker that has hurt children. And September 13th, Thunderman's Clinic here in Rhode Island has had a cut of 14% of their workers. You can see the direction this is going in. Psychology Today also finds gender dysphoria aligns with schizophrenia, hence more work needs to be done to find out what is the underlying issues for these children. Psychology Today also says a child's brain is not fully developed until their mid-20s. This part of the brain is responsible for judgment, reasoning, and decision-making. These children cannot consent to life-altering procedures, leaving them deformed and sterilized. What are we doing in society about this? This is nothing more than $1 billion industry. These children will become lifelong patients with hormone replacements their bodies do not normally produce after their surgeries. It is a private matter between a student, parent, and their personal physician. This does not belong in public education. Schools, educators, guidance counselors, doctors, or medical contractors that you plan on bringing into schools have no business to affirm a child. It is not your child. Would you affirm a bulimic or anorexic child that that child is obese? No, never. There would never be a plastic surgeon to do liposuction on that child. They would lose their license. Just because a child feels that they don't belong or they don't feel they're in the right body, that does not mean that is their truth. Children can change anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months to 2 years of how they feel. They're children. I'm sorry? Oh, I'm sorry. I respectfully urge this board to reevaluate the RIDE policies. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is it Clara Hardy from North Providence?
First of all, congratulations on your award. So my name is Clara Harding, and I actually live here in North Providence. And I also am a proud member of a Unitarian Universalist church. I'm wearing this t-shirt because our motto is for standing on the side of love. And that's what I'm here to do today. I'm here to speak in support of the Rhode Island Department of Education's policy on transgender and nonconforming students, that the man from Westerly has been given a platform on this agenda to state his opposition to these policies that protect trans youth from discrimination from people like him. I am a proud aunt and cousin to relatives who are transgendered. My niece, who graduated from high school last year in a school that supported her, educated her, and welcomed her as she slowly started her social transition in the 10th grade. She was lucky to have been in a school that is accepting, tolerant, and encouraging of her. She's also lucky to have parents who are accepting of who she truly is. As a social worker who works with many people that are marginalized, I am well aware that my niece is lucky to be so supported at home and at school. This is not the case for so many transgender students, because when trans kids are forced to suppress their gender expression, then this leads to many more suicides and psychological problems. There is a reason why courts, in at least one state, California, don't require parents to be notified if their child is gender variant. Because if the child themselves aren't talking to their parents about their gender identity, then there's a good reason. And it's often due to the threat of domestic violence. Many children don't live in healthy, happy homes with accepting parents who provide unconditional love. When it comes to athletics, trans girls don't have an advantage in sports as they are not boys. That is like saying that because I am taller than most of my classmates were in high school, then I should be banned from playing basketball, which I played basketball all 4 years of high school, and we almost won the state championship. Anyways, then I should be banned from playing basketball due to a height advantage over shorter girls. There are all sorts of variation among kids on many levels. Being transgender is not a given advantage. Lastly, transgender girls are not men invading girls. If anything, invading girls' bathrooms. If anything, transgender girls are probably much shyer and timid than most cisgender girls. There is a far greater problem with cis men abusing girls and boys in school than worrying about what any transgender person is doing. Proof of this is the arrest last week of Joseph Gannon, a teacher at Nathaniel Green Middle School, who was arrested for sexually assaulting a middle schooler for years. The concern, the concern should be more about what type of adults are influencing our children rather than concerning oneself about a student's gender. School is a place to keep all students safe, free from harassment, discrimination, and hate. I will lastly read a poem that was originally written after the Holocaust by Martin Niemöller, and it's been adapted, and I think it's very appropriate. First, they came for the Hispanics and Latinos, and I did not speak out because I was not Hispanic or Latino. Then they came for the Muslims and the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not Muslim or Jew. Then they came for all the immigrants and their children, and I did not speak out because I was not an immigrant. Then they came for all people of color, and I did not speak out because I was not a person of color. Then they attacked the women, and I did not speak out because I was not a woman. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Please speak for children, all children. Every children needs your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Judy Turismet Manek from North Providence. She's still here? Judy? No? Okay. Deborah Hoff, North Providence. Not here. John Clark, Woonsocket.
Good evening. First off, I'd like to congratulate Superintendent Goho. It comforts me hearing all of the testimony that I've heard tonight of your character. My name is John Clark. Excuse me. My name is John Clark. I reside in Woonsocket. I prefer to be addressed as JoJo. They, them pronouns. I'm here tonight to voice my support and encourage this board to follow RIDE's guidelines for transgender and gender diverse students in your school system. At heart, it simply extends the protections and safety set for all students. It mirrors our society's endeavor to fight discrimination, prejudice, and bigotry. I can think of no better place to start. I am 59 years of age. I conduct my life according to my experience, heart, and reasoning. It is by those tenets I choose to stand before you and testify. I am trans. I am not evil or belong to a cult. My transition has resulted in a much richer life, mentally, creatively, socially. Some here would care for you to start a witch hunt where no witches are to be found. Though I do not know them, to speak of them void of heart, I can clearly hear misdirected fear, condemnation, and persecution aimed at the innocent, which this board is charged with the protection and safety of. And for what reason are they being targeted? For their right of self-expression. Your due diligence is civically important here. I was raised in post-segregated South and know quite well how bigotry is preserved. Dehumanization, exaggerations, and ignorance reinforced by separation so that experience may never unseat that narrative. This fire is being fanned for the preservation of customs, not for the care of students today and for those to come. The smoke of conspiracies, interpreted statistics you will likely hear tonight are too vast for me to address one by one. They can only be cleared by reasoning and vetted research, which the state's diligence has consciously done with the RIDE guidelines. Additionally, adhering to Title IX of U.S. Education Amendment. In 2021, U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear the case of Grimm versus Gloucester County School Board of 2020, leaving the Fourth Circuit's ruling in favor of transgender rights intact. Nothing has changed since that. It is without question this is currently our law. No good path forward in the history of time has ever been resolved by discrimination and isolation. I am hopeful that you choose to acknowledge the rights, protection, and existence of all students, that you support expression and teach the existing diversity of our world uncensored, that you allow teachers their trained profession without being forced to adjunct policing for parents. By following RIDE's guidelines for trans and gender diverse students, you will lay groundwork for healthier students and how they see themselves and treat their peers. Remain within the law of this land and perhaps encourage a more empathetic and understanding society for our future. It's your clarity and mission with heart, not fear, I am here to call upon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Chris Grassi, North Providence.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Grassi. I live at 5 Remington Street here in North Providence. I've been a North Providence resident for 6 years now. I didn't prepare any notes. I just knew tonight that when I saw this on the agenda, I wanted to speak. To Clara's point, I'm here to speak for everyone who can't. The idea that transgender people are a threat to any of us is just wrong. I walked into the school tonight and I saw, I'm not the most observant person in the first place, but I saw that this is a welcoming place. There were signs above the door saying, this is North Providence. We want you to be here. We want you to participate and feel like you're a student. That's what you're doing, and that's what you need to continue to do for all students, not just the ones that are like everyone else. It's the students that need that need to hear it. You know that. You're educated. You're doing this already, and you're sticking to what RIDE is saying. All I have is anecdotes and my experience, but that's what you need to be doing. You're doing it here. My experience growing up, we're talking tonight about people who are threats. My threat was always from people of my own gender. That happened. That happens. It's not that it's people of other genders. It's not that it's transgender. It's children being children. And you've got to continue to let that happen. I mean, you've got to try to avoid it, but you've got to continue to teach to that, to show it, to have it happen, to make them better students, to make them better people. And I see you doing that, and I appreciate that. My granddaughter is a first grader at McGuire, and what I see her going through already, she just won the Little Cougar Award. I don't have that perfect, but she's a member of the pack already, and she's very happy with that. So thank you. That's what we need to build here. That's what we need to continue to build upon, is to do that. I learned recently that a member of my extended family is about to transition. They're 16 years old. They live in North Carolina in the suburbs, and I'm worried about them, that it's not going to be an easy thing for them to finally, they've figured out what they need to do, and they're 16. It's possibly a little late for hormonal therapy already, but they're still in school, and they're going to need that support and that ability to find and continue to grow as they grow. And I want that. I want that in North Providence. I fear that they won't have it in North Carolina. A friend of my wife, their daughter is trans and just switched schools in Indiana. They tried to make a fresh start, And already in September, in their first month, a teacher has turned that student in and outed them in front of the entire school. And it's just horrific to hear that happen. And I don't want that in North Providence. I don't think we're doing that in North Providence, and we shouldn't do that in North Providence. So please continue on doing what you're doing. Make this town the good place that it is. And congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan Connie, Bristol.
The anti-trans activists in the opposition don't understand where Title IX comes from and are attacking school committees across the state for merely following federal guidance. The U.S. Department of Education and the Supreme Court in the 2020 decision, Bostock versus Clayton County, have already decided that discrimination against gender identity and trans people falls under the protections covered by Title IX. There's also been other federal court decisions, as John mentioned, Grimm versus Gloucester City, that also back this up. The anti-trans activists also say that there is no evidence to support the existence of trans people at all. No facts, only feelings. But they are dead wrong, and all of their accusations are confessions. That's why the majority of psychiatric research and medical research supports the conclusion they're just trying to force people who say they're trans to just deal with it and to live and the identity they were born into doesn't work and leads to outcomes such as higher rates of depression and suicide. Look up studies that the American Psychoanalytic Association, the American Medical Association, all the major American medical and psychiatric associations have come to the same conclusion, despite these people apparently knowing better. Things like social transition for younger ages do improve their outcomes. You can all go on Google Scholar right now if you wanted to and look up studies and get more detailed information about what approaches produce which outcomes, which approaches are appropriate for which ages, to get a more nuanced understanding. Of course, conveniently, any medical literature that disagrees with these people's views must just be the result of people with agendas, which of course they have none. Showing these anti-trans activist studies will never convince them, though. Their response is typically to flounder and engage in name-calling. The other gentleman began his speech by claiming the other side is guilty of this. However, again, their accusations are confessions. They went to the other school committee at another part of the state and called everyone there incompetent, maybe because the school committee was less receptive than them or something. However, whenever you see these people, do remember that they are paper tigers. One of the Moms for Liberty activists who spoke on this spoke at another school committee meeting and began by saying, Your trans child's rights to safety and comfort do not trump my child's right to safety and comfort. While masquerading as a statement expressing that all children are equal, the way this is worded lays bare their true intentions and the true thought process. They don't care about the struggles or suffering faced by children who aren't their own, and they don't care about people they don't understand who have issues that they do not understand. These people have called other school committee members incompetent liars and boldly claim that they don't have the best interests of students at heart. They have deluded themselves into believing that these people joined the school committee for the sole purpose of pushing their own agenda on this issue that they themselves have chosen to obsess over, even though it does not directly affect them. Ironically, it is actually the anti-trans activists who often do exactly this. One joined the Bristol School Committee precisely because she was furious that there was a non-explicit book in her kid's school called Were I Not a Girl, telling a story about a real-life British trans man from centuries ago who joined the British military. She, of course, shares the Moms for Liberty activist tendency to accuse her opposition of unfairly conspiring against her. Another activist at one point from the Moms for Liberty side, in their ignorance, attempted to equate trans people to gay people, stating that my gay friend didn't need to change their identity to be who they were, so why do trans people? These are people with a fundamental misunderstanding of the issue at hand, but who attempt to speak with confidence on it anyway. I do find this analogy interesting, however, because if we were back in the age prior to gay acceptance, back in the 70s, these same people would have been right here engaging in the same tactics and the same talking points, the same name calling that people like Anita Bryant did back in the 1970s. I find it kind of interesting, the new talking point of the lawsuits will come, but it's okay. Please get sued by RIDE, it won't matter. This doesn't necessarily seem to be in the best interest of the school committee. I don't know why they would go for that. I don't know why they would want to get sued, or the community probably doesn't want them to get sued anyway, because it would hurt them in the end anyway. And another thing that was said earlier, that being trans is just based on a boy saying he's a girl. That's actually not just that. It's actually more than that. It's actually based on conversations with psychiatric professionals and the parents. It's not just someone says they are and then that's what it is. There's a process to see what's best for someone, what's going to help them, and what's not. So it's not quite that simple. So there seems to be a misunderstanding on that. There was also a false claim that
You have
suicide
30 seconds, sir. 30 seconds.
Oh, there's also a false claim that suicide rates for trans people who transition increase afterwards. It's wrong. None of the medical associations have found this. They found the opposite. It's likely a statistical error that most people make when they make this same false argument by comparing not people pre-transition to post-transition, but rather just comparing trans people in general, their rate to the rate of the general population, which is obviously going to be higher.
Time is up.
Which is false. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The final speaker is Wendy Becker from Cranston. Is that correct, Cranston? Yeah. Is that Cranston? Thank you.
Congratulations to the superintendent, and thank you all for the opportunity to speak this evening. I'm an associate professor of social work at Rhode Island College, where I teach clinical practice and social policy, including a class on sexual orientation and gender identity. I was also a middle school social worker for many years and the executive director of Youth Pride, a statewide organization for LGBTQ youth. I'm here to urge you to follow RIDE guidance and adhere to state and federal law. There is a national effort to dehumanize and target LGBTQ people, evil and demonic, as we've already been called here tonight. Extremists are engaged in targeting school committees with message-tested parental rights and child protection talking points with rhetoric rooted in gross misinformation. They are not actually protecting children, as children are not in danger. There have been exactly zero incidents in our schools in the 7+ years since the RIDE guidance regarding trans students has been adopted. Not one problem in the bathrooms, classrooms, field trips, or locker rooms. And they are not increasing parental rights. Parents have always had the right to engage with teachers and administrators and have their views heard. These anti-trans activists are simply trying to replace policy created by experts and educators with their own views on gender that are opposed by all respected medical and mental health organizations, including the American Medical Association, Psychiatric Association, Psychological Association, the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, the American Academy of Pediatrics. The American College of Pediatricians, mentioned by previous speakers, is a fringe group started by anti-LGBTQ medical professionals, and yes, has been designated nationally as a hate group. Those of us who care about the education of children must not accommodate extremists who peddle fear, have no subject expertise, and seek a discriminatory solution in search of a problem. Let me be clear, catering to transphobia and seeking to institutionalize discrimination against trans students is not only morally wrong and illegal, it is harmful to students' well-being. If the policies demanded by the first speaker were instituted, policies designed to deny their reality and out them before they are ready, kids will die. Transgender youth face enormous challenges. Studies show that transgender students are disproportionately affected by bullying, harassment, and discrimination in schools. In fact, over 80% in a 2021 study, LGBTQ students, 80% of them reported feeling unsafe in their schools. Takes a devastating toll contributing to higher rates of depression, anxiety, substance use, truancy, and suicidal ideation. But it's important to understand with these statistics that these transgender youth experience difficulties not because of their gender identity and expression. It's because of transphobia. This is not about who they are or what they do. This is about who we are and what we do. We must create safe and inclusive environments for all students and treat trans and gender diverse students with respect and dignity. We must reject policies rooted in transphobia and comply with the law and uphold the core values of education: equity, respect, compassion. When transgender students are supported and allowed to live authentically, their mental health,
30
attendance,
seconds.
academic performance all improve. And without any negative consequences for anybody else, because an inclusive, safe environment is what's best for all students. Please follow the right guidelines that were enacted based on state and federal law and research into evidence-based practice. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll now proceed with our meeting. Item number 4, approval of minutes, regular meeting on August 28th.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Executive session minutes, August 28th.
Motion to approve the appropriate section of Rhode Island State Law.
Motion made and second. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, correspondence. We have correspondence from the Rhode Island Laborers District Council and also the Rhode Island Federation of Teachers and Health Professionals. Without objection, I'm going to instruct the superintendent and legal counsel to get together to respond back to both these unions to begin engagement. Anybody have any questions regarding that? Thank you. We have public comments. Item number 7, consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as noted.
Second.
Any questions on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8, superintendent's report. Mr. Goho.
Of the school committee, first item is I would request the annual approval of our district distance learning plan, which you have previously approved, and there are no changes to the plan we are submitting.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B.
Next item, I would request approval to pass the local 920 MOA separation agreement as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item, I am requesting approval of the committee of the enclosed North Providence High School CTE regulations aligned to the new requirements determined by the Department of Education.
Second. I give a discussion for one.
Question, Mrs. Picard.
I have noticed that, and I know Louise and I are working on some of the grading stuff, but we seem to be adding a proof of appeals policy back in 2021. And we're adding almost into every policy a different appeals policy per policy, which can get really confusing for everyone involved. My suggestion is just since we have the appeals policy, we just refer them to the appeals policy that we already approved in 2021. I'm going to approve as noted because it doesn't stop them from doing that, even with it in here, but just to keep things, I think, a little bit cleaner. That would be my recommendation moving forward. But thank you. I'm approving this tonight.
All those in favor? Oh, sorry.
Okay. All right, there was a motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have no school committee reports. We have no old business, new business. Mr. Goho.
First item, I would request approval by the committee of the enclosed district physician consultant job description as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B.
I would request approval by the committee of the enclosed independent medical contractor agreement.
So moved.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C.
Next item, as you read in Finance Director Ms. Castanelli's letter to me, we are required by federal law, because the school lunch program is a federal program, to yearly rectify any unpaid lunch balances that we have incurred as a district. And so we do have a significant surplus in the food service line, the Chopwell's fund balance, enough to cover the unpaid lunch balances. This is the last year that the U.S. Department of Education, U.S. FDA will allow us to use the lunch account to cover the debt, and I recommend that we do so and
So
comply
moved.
with federal law.
Okay, motion on the floor in a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D.
Next item is I would request approval of the enclosed athletic training and sports medicine bid, which is to Laney Chiropractic, who has done an outstanding job servicing our athletes over the last year. And the recommendation is to continue by approving the enclosed bid, and then we will open into a 3-year contract with them.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item E.
Next item, I would request approval of the enclosed 2024-2025 school committee schedule as submitted.
So moved.
I have,
Second.
God.
I'll second, but I'm going to respectfully ask. I did email Chair Pallotta and Superintendent on January 22nd. Due to the nature of my job, I have a tri-town member meeting because we're a regional school district. So those meetings are scheduled yearly. So they happen January in 2024. The meeting for 2025 is scheduled. I'm asking that the committee consider moving it to the Wednesday before or after the January 22nd date. I would greatly appreciate your consideration of my request.
Okay, I'll have the superintendent screen the school committee and ask them.
Thank you.
If they're available on either one of those dates. So I'll entertain a motion to table that right now.
We already have a motion on the,
Yeah, I'm fine with approving it if we can, if Joe doesn't mind, if people don't mind that I'm asking them to pull, Chuck doesn't care because he's not gonna be here.
Yeah.
But if they don't mind pulling
but I
those
don't
that
have
are here.
I don't have my agenda in front of me.
No problem, I don't mind passing it as is, and then if they can do it, I would appreciate that we just change it next
So
month.
we're passing the calendar as is. And we can
Approve it
vote as
And then we
is.
can just do
Do
the
it.
change.
All right, Chair will entertain a motion to approve it as is.
We already
Yeah,
have
we
that.
did, and I seconded it.
So
Get
just,
that motion.
just vote.
Made the motion.
There's a motion on the floor by Mrs. McCod, seconded by Mr. De Silva.
Correct.
Yeah.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of bills.
So moved.
Second. Be glad.
The motion, is there a second?
Yes. I seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Use of property requests.
So moved.
Motion made and second. Any questions on property requests? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have no pending business. The chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.